Hey everybody, it's Phone here once again. Hey, before I get started here, I'm going to do a Q&A for the 100th episode. So if you have any questions for me for the 100th episode that I will cover in that video, please drop them in the comments below. It can be on anything. It doesn't have to be, it can be, but probably don't make it about the entity. Just questions about anything, about the channel, about life, about whatever, about your cat, anything. That's coming in the next video. I'm going to do something special. I haven't decided yet, but we'll do something fun. So that out of the way, today I am rambling about the SSF Entity Percussion Synthesizer. It is different from the current Entity Ultra Perk. I do not have that one. I did have it. Don't laugh. You can laugh. But this is the OG one. This is the original drum synth, and unlike the Ultra Kick and the Ultra series that are beside it, there is both a silver panel and a black panel that looks like the Ultra Kick, but there's also an updated version. So I don't have the updated version anymore. I have the original one here, so that's what we're rambling about today. I remember little of that updated version, which I had, but okay, let's get the quick housekeeping out of the way. I'm not affiliated with SSF. They didn't send this to me. They don't make it anymore, I don't think, anyway. It's out of production. I bought this used here locally in Vancouver. It's not sponsored or anything. I'm not here to sell it to you or present it to you or assess it for you. I'm just doing a video blog in my journeys in hardware, synthesizer, Eurorack, music, modular, everything in life, and we're just gonna explore it together, have some fun, and today I am bringing the manual. So with all that being said, it sounds like this. So what we're going to do, we like to go through the panel top to bottom. Sorry. Oh, that's not definitely loud. Let's go through and just add some triggers. And I'm going to let this thing sing out while we go through the panel and let you hear some of the controls while I go through them. So, armed with the manual today, so it's... I love drum synthesis. I know there's like people constantly ask me, they're like, why would I want, or I don't know, let me rephrase that. Let me say that like people always ask me about drum modules, and I think lots of people in Eurorack, at least I feel that way because people ask me about it a lot, like don't go for drum modules in Eurorack, and I don't know why that is, or I don't know, to me, drum modules, drum synthesis is like my favorite part of Eurorack, and samples are fun, but the immediacy and the the hands-onness of everything, like I love that for every part of Eurorack, especially drums. But I know lots of people just like want to focus on the sound design of the synthesizers, just the synthesizers, and the melodies and the beat and the drums are afterthought. But for me, I'm totally the opposite, and the Entity is super cool for that. Now, I have a perception of this, and the reason I got it was because I wanted a quote-unquote snare module, and yeah, snare is usually a lot of noise, and Entity has a lot of sound design options for the noise section, but then in noodling with it for this video today, I'm like, it's so capable of everything, and it really is a nice analog voice too. So yeah, it's sweet. Let's go into it. Let's go through the panel. So bring it in here. We're just going to hear, let's try and get like an init patch. I'll show you, well, here, let's just get into doing it. So top to bottom, here's an init patch of sorts. Top to bottom we have delay, these mini trim pots. Delay adds you're not going to hear, okay, how am I trying to explain this for the video? And we're starting off on a wonky one. So because it's on a sequence, changes in the delay are just going to, or sorry, because it's on a fixed sequence, if I shift the delay here, you're not going to hear much of a difference. It's just going to move our sequence forward. But it does introduce a bit of not attack, but the trigger starts a little later, if that makes sense. So if I unpatch my trigger, if I am using the manual ping button, the manual trigger button, I don't know why it's called ping, but thank you for it. I really appreciate that. If we increase our delay, it takes a little bit longer to trigger the envelope. I find, I don't know if it does a lot to me, and I don't know if maybe that's because the noise decay isn't affected by that delay and that only affects the body, but for whatever the reason, I just leave my decays to start right away. I'm not too worried about that. I also like really up-tempo stuff, so maybe there isn't a lot of room to play anyway, so I just leave the delay completely off. Now the decay, there's two decay envelopes, for the body, which is this. And I'll also say that there's lots of different, like this is kind of the classic, and when it comes to a lot of these SSF modules, they don't use like a typical, like, let me rephrase that. Like one decay isn't the be all end all, like the harmonics, the ring mod, everything is going to affect how it resonates. Just like on the Ultra Kick, there's your resonate and your ripple settings that all kind of add up to how long the actual note is going to trigger for. So even with this cranked, it doesn't ring out completely because of all of the other different things. Now that being said, the noise has its own envelope as well. And again, see, it gets shorter when I'm just adjusting the ring mod, right? If I open the ring mod all the way up, then our stuff's going to roll forever, right? So there's always like, it isn't an end of chain VCA. If everything is inside there, it's not the be all end all. Now the noise decay has its own decay, which because it's not affected by that ring mod, I don't believe, it is going to ring out forever. And like I said, this thing is really good for snare, so there's lots of noise options here. There's a noise level. Do you want it cranked all the way up? Or drawn back, obviously. But then there's a final output here, so I think the final output can have routing destinations, so routing sources, I guess. So do you want it to take the external in, which we'll get to in a second? Do you want it to be a mix of the internal and external, or just the internal? Now, saying that, notice the noise is outside of that. So it really is a sum of the two. Well, not like in ideology or whatever. It is literally a sum of the two. So keep that in mind. It is, you might be thinking, okay, well, I get control over my noise level, but not my body level. Well, you do. It's in the final output. So with that being said, you can do these super long. There's white noise, which you're hearing. I'll make the body the analog synthesis, not that the noise isn't analog, but I'll make the noise ringing out now. So this white noise, pink noise, and then you can send, I believe this is the pink noise, but it might be the white noise. You can send your noise to the filter in the third option. And we're not going to hear anything because our decay is so short, but if we crank up our decay, we start to hear. And I think this is going to route our noise to the final output now because it's into the filter. Yes. Right? And I find this is usually where I want to be in filtered noise, right? But then at least for snares. But then it can do everything, right? So sometimes I want my pink noise for the snares, right? So I am going to start with trying to design a snare, but let's get through all the knobs first. So the first is body, and if I turn off the noise now and crank up the output, then you'll hear... I'm not really sure, like, in terms of subtractive synthesis what this is doing, but it says it's kind of like, if you're thinking about it in a physical modeling sense, this is like changing the head of the drum. Like if it's a snare drum, then is the drum head looser? Is it more wobbly? Is it deeper, I should say? Don't want to use like resonate terms, but is it tighter or is it looser? So loose is to the right, which seems kind of ironic to me. That seems a little backwards, but that's okay. To the left is tighter. And if I bring up some decay, pitch it up higher, this is the tight, middle, loose. And then pitch, obviously the core of this. See how tightening it muffles it up a bit. Again, this is one of those modules that is just like all of these things sort of combine, so it's hard to show them in isolation, right? So let's leave these where they are. I'll put this a little looser so it kind of resonates a little bit more. But then there's the harmonic section, which... Let's see, what does it describe the harmonic section as? Sorry, I need the manual for a moment. Harmonics control adds heavy upper harmonic content to the main sound and or external sources. So this control can have a dramatic effect on percussive sounds as well as bass, lead, and synth percussion. It is, in essence, a wave folder. Okay, so... Yes. Yes. Oh, I wish it just said wave folder. Because you'd be speaking my language. Okay, we definitely want that. So the ring control mounts the resonant decay time of the output signal. Okay, not a ring mod. Ooh, okay. Again, Eurorack modules and the labeling. I thought that was ring mod, okay. So this is like another decay. And I'm in love. So then there's frequency modulation, which again, I mean, I also recognize the entity as like one of the original drum modules, like, not original, but, you know, it's a lot older than conventions that may have come after it. I think it was new in 2017, which feels like a long time in the Eurorack world, but, so there is FM, they call it, but I usually call this, like, pitch envelope. Does the decay pitch it up? If so, how far? Or does it pitch it down? If so, how far? If you're designing kicks, you know that the pitch envelope is critical. Like this is fine, but... Yes. Yes. So, FM level, do you want it to be controlled by the envelope and FM, or FM CV? Which is normal to 5 volts, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the reason why it is changing without any input. I'm going to leave it on envelope though, so... Bring a little noise. So I said I'd start with a snare, but here we are, starting with a kick. And very FM, right? I think it's just the wave folding that's making that seem so digital in my mind, and I just, now, things that would appear later, modules like the Ultra Kick beside it, there is a duck output, so if you want to use this as your kick and side chain it, there is duck output there. And I'm not going to do that for this one, but I could. Here. So yeah, that's going to follow that same decay envelope, I believe. Take my duck output, and we're going to make it boost notes. Nope. We're gonna make it duck. Sorry. So we're really making those kicks pump, right? Sorry, I just wanted to demonstrate that. Now there's control over the decay over CV. Let's just send random sources to all of them to show what they can do. Let's add some random decays. Random delays. If we... see, okay, so the delay is definitely affecting one of the envelopes and not the other, which kind of gives it more reason in my mind that there's a little bit of like two-stage or two-step to that, right? Two-step, like the genre? Anyway, yeah, okay. Noise decay. I think because I'm routing this to the filter, it's not going to matter as much, but... Yeah, oh, this thing. Random Body. It's my new punk band name, Random FM. Random pitch mod, I'm trying to say. Yeah. And then harmonics. Randomization, yeah. I like it. Amp? I mean, that's another way to modulate your decays, right? If I'm just like, you know, messing with them. Adding randomization to the total output, right? So then randomization to the noise level. Just wanted to show you all that, and then I'm going to show you two different things. So we can use an external source, and I'm going to route that in. And then we can turn that into a drum synth, right? And I think actually I always overlook this myself, but a lot of drum modules, including the Archer's rig beside it, will take external sources and make them their own. So you have VCA, you have an envelope, you have a filter, you have all that on board. Why not make use of it for other things you want to try? In this case, it's the VicX, because we love the VicX, and by all accounts, it really should not be a snare drum or kick. Noise. Mix in the Eternals. Sorry, take out my entity, just to make it clear. That's fun. Wave folder. This wave folder sounds really nice. Just ludicrous. Anyway, what I did want to demonstrate, though, is using it as a synth voice, because it sounds really freaking good, in my biased opinion. Sorry, I'm banging the camera around. Let's get this going. So, trigger, replacing it with this one. New CV, volt per octave input. Let's send it that. And get over to that one, randomize the sequence. Let's hear that. Yeah, and we got a synth sound, so let's pitch it down. I'm probably pretty low on the octave side, but... It's alright. Bring in a kick. Make my sequence a little longer. Make my sequence a little slower. Give it some quantization. Sorry. Well, it's like wobbly down there, yeah. I like bringing in a little noise too. White noise? Oh, that wave folder though. If I send an LFO to said wave folder, so we can get, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds sweet. To my ears. I know everyone's thinking, what is he on about? Anyway, very capable as a synth voice. And I don't know if I just had struggled with this one less than other ones in the past, but every drum module says it's a good synth voice, but it's always okay. This one, this is great. Yeah. I don't know. SSF knows how to make them, and I'm not trying to be super biased, but I think that's sweet. One other interesting thing, this light here, the eye, that's hopefully not inducing any seizures. There's 3 different lights in here. There's the trigger, the frequency mod envelope, which is labeled in black, but I think is like blue? No. And then the red is wave. So everything's kind of color-coded, which is something that SSF would completely drop later on, and I'm not sure what the deal is, but it's cool that they just kind of like throw all of these lights in here all in once. So like the trigger is one light, the FM is another, and the wave is another, and just throw them all in there. It turns into, I don't know, a gaming PC's light strip. Anyway, SSF Entity Percussion is sweet. I'm really impressed with it. Let's actually go in and make the snare sound that I set out to make originally, but got so distracted with all of the other fun things with that I didn't do. So let's get this back to sorry. You know how it is. Too much fun. Snare sound, lots of noise. There. I'll turn the wave folder off of the body because we want the body to be kind of subtle. Just a little. Yeah. White noise. Kick. Yeah, it excels. If you like doing drum synthesis, this thing is super flexible, super versatile, and I really dig it. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tafony. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.